The problem with Kevin Samuels is, hey, you're listening to the Authentic with Alisha podcast. I'm your host. You can call me A for short. This episode is brought to you by nothing. Ads suck, so to keep this pod ad-free, you can head over to Patreon. We get double the pods monthly. All right, let's talk about it. It's not that often that I touch on the pop culture things, but today I was feeling it, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say. I found myself yesterday watching his live, but that was after I gave him a try through the JBP. If you watched my 21 favorite pods, you already know that I love me some Joe Budden. So when he featured the illustrious Kevin Samuels on his podcast, I was like, let me just hear him out. And to be honest, the man didn't tell any lies. I was actually surprised that I agreed with him a lot more than I thought I would, based on everything that my friends and the feed, the timeline has told me about this man. But, maybe I shouldn't have given him that much of a chance. Because when I went on his live, I just kept saying to myself, this man is so vicious. There's no need to be this type of denigrating. I was so confused as to how people found this entertainment as the live stream feed was going and the chat box was filling up with people laughing their asses off at the peril of women. I didn't really find anything funny about it. It wasn't really entertaining. And most importantly, it wasn't informative to the people calling in. This is the problem I have with Kevin Samuels. It's one thing to want to help people. And I'm not going to knock someone for not being accredited. Of course, in our world in these days, you want someone, especially someone giving advice, life coaching, or a psychologist, to have some letters after their name. But sometimes experience is the best teacher. And sometimes people go through life, and through that, they've learned in such a way they can inform and help other people. I don't see that happening on his channel. What I see is him telling women what their problem is instead of helping them actualize for themselves. He leads with the same 3 questions. What's your height? What's your age? And what do you weigh? And I think he also asks what your dress size is too. And most times, one of those 4 questions leads to some type of degrading conversation. He tells you what's wrong with you instead of asking you what you think is the problem. And we're not going to get into the world of dating because everyone touching on this topic is more talking about men versus women and expectations and all of that. I can save that for another podcast. But what I wanted to focus on as far as personal development for you today is there's always going to be that someone in your life, be it a Kevin Samuels or someone you know personally, who's going to tell you what's wrong with you. And you need to decide for yourself if it's true or not. More importantly than that, I think it's always good that we look at ourselves. It starts with us, it ends with us. It's so easy for someone to look at our lives and us and tell us ABC is wrong with us when it could be X, Y, and Z. Maybe ABC is a product of X, Y, Z, and only we would see that because only we know ourselves. It's so easy for him to say, as a Black woman, you need to lose weight. This is the problem with the culture. But when that Black woman says, I've been grieving, and he says, that's no excuse. Asian women can't grieve and gain weight like that. He's not looking at all the pieces that fall in the puzzle. There's genetics, there's predisposition, there may be underlying health conditions. People deal with grief in different phases and stages. And for him to just disregard all of that for the sake of entertainment or whatever it may be, it just goes past me. And even aside from that example, just the way that he even speaks, because I did check him on another platform as well, it seems to be, and tell me if I'm wrong, tell me if you disagree, but it seems to be that he's not actually giving advice, more just telling people what he thinks. Because when I think of a life coach, and let me know if I'm wrong, I think of someone who's first going to ask you what you think is wrong and then try to meet you halfway. I've worked with professionals and I've also had good conversations with good friends about things that have triggered and traumatized me. And in any case, the best solutions are the ones that I come to the conclusion of with a little assistance, a little nudge in the right way. It's never a good thing when someone tells you what's wrong. That means one of 2 things. Either you're too far gone, because if you can't see what's wrong and they can see it that clearly and that blatantly, then we got a problem. Or 2, this person is so much on a pedestal that they think they know what's right for you when it may be way wrong. So you need to decide which of the two is true. And from there, you need to decide what's the best step for you to take. I said it before, I'll say it again, I'll say it forever, that you know yourself best and you know what path and purpose you're supposed to take. You may not know your exact purpose in life per se, but your intuition will always tell you if you have the right intention. And when it comes to not just men, just people in general that are so quick to tell you how to live, or so quick to tell you you're wrong, or that you messed up, it could be right in some cases, but more often than not, it ends up being a mirror and a reflection of maybe the insecurities they have, or the need they have to put these negativities on other people. I don't see what good comes out of telling women they're overweight and they can't have a certain type of man because of that. Hey, it could be true. Maybe all high value men want a size 2. Okay, but you're not advising women to do better. You're not saying, okay, so what's your meal plan like? Or, have you tried this? Or what does your friend say about this? You're just, in a way, almost fishing for the answers that are going to confirm your case. And it's weird to me that society finds this entertaining, but to each their own. The other side of this that I just can't with, and I'm sure this is the reason why a lot of women are heated, is there's really no need to be that disrespectful. It's the delivery for me. As I said before, it's not that he said anything wrong. In fact, at least in the Joe Budden podcast, he didn't tell any lies. I mean, I might have to go back and revise. Maybe there are one or two things that I'm just like, you went way left with it. But for the most part, I agree with him, which was shocking for me based on what I saw from the viral "you're 6 at best" and what I've heard from my family and on the news feed. But it's the delivery. There's some people on this planet who are going to sugarcoat things. There's some people who are going to say it simply, and there's some people who are going to state it in such a venomous way that it takes away from the message. I advise you stay very far away from people like that. I have had friends like that, and it doesn't do any good for either person, because obviously that person has a problem if they're trying to solve your problems with such, I don't even know what it is. There's no word for it because it's so unnecessary. And I get it that you're going to have friends that are tough love, or they don't want to be too soft on you because then you're not going to take their advice seriously. But I still believe delivery is 50% of the message. I still believe that you can also feel out the person you're talking to. Maybe you are rough around the edges when you give advice to your family and friends, but not every family member or friend can handle it or will be receptive to that. And I think as a human being, it's our duty to be conscientious of the people we're communicating with and not just live in our truths as a cop-out for not being accommodating to others. We're all on this planet. We're all trying to be in this equal opportunity society and be elevated human beings. But oftentimes, and quite a bit of times in my life, if I admit it, I've met people who are quick to tell me when I'm wrong, or quick to call me out, or quick to call me this. And it just makes you think, how long were you thinking this? Or were you waiting for this moment to just call me out on this? And it always is a mirror to me, and I hope that it's a mirror for you whenever you have a situation like this in the future, or if you're currently going through it. So I'm going to end off there because I feel like I said a lot, but you can let me know what your thoughts are on this. If you haven't already, rate and review wherever podcasts are played to let the algorithm know that you want this pod to grow. And until next week, stay blessed, stay authentic.